Righty then, the January window is approaching thick and fast. Everyone wants to know who United are going to sign, and we are definitely going to be covering that over the next few days on the channel. So stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe if you are new around here. Hit that button. Apparently, we're going for 200k by March 31st. I don't know what happens if we get there, but someone's wrote it on my whiteboard out there. March the 10th, actually. So we're going for 200k by March the 10th. So I guess subscribe, because loads of you aren't subscribed. Loads of City fans, I reckon, like watching, but don't want it to be publicly that they're subscribed to me. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Right, let's get into the players that are leaving then. I think some of these are very obvious, and some maybe not so much. These are players that could leave January, not the end of the season, January. And I think if some of these players leave, they do free up a significant amount of wages for Ralph Rangnick to be able to take advantage of. And I think even though he's like, yeah, we're not signing anyone, I expect United to be signing some people in January. Righty then, first one is first. Tony Marshall handed in a transfer request. His agent has stated that the guy wishes to leave. Unsatisfied with his playing time. He's only started twice in the Premier League this season. Has made 5 more appearances off the bench. Started 1 Champions League game. He just has not developed into the footballer that he's shown the potential to be when he arrived as a teenager. He just has not developed. He's in his mid-20s now. You expect him to kick on. You expect a level of consistency. He's looked at one of those Ralph Rangnick training sessions and gone, do you know what? It's not a bit of me, that. I'm going to go and toss it off somewhere where no one's going to give me abuse for not pressing. And I don't think he'll be missed. Number 2, Cavani. News broke on Friday. Barcelona have offered Edinson Cavani a 1.5-year contract. Obviously, the under half in that means that he's going in January. They're also talking about the price of what he's going for. He's considering terminating his contract if United don't allow him to go, whether that's a small fee involved or whatever, I'm not sure. But he's talking about terminating his contract according to TNT Sports Argentina. His quote on United's Twitter also feels like it's a little bit of a goodbye. I think Cavani's been sensational for United. My only regret with Cavani is that we didn't sign him 5 years ago. I think he's been absolutely mint, and I didn't think he'd be as good in the Premier League as he obviously was. And I'm gutted that we haven't seen him more under Ralph Rangnick, because I think he's perfectly made as one of the strikers in a 2-striker system that presses from the front aggressively and crosses the ball. Everything. He is literally the kind of striker that Ralph Rangnick wants in this United team, and we're letting him go. Well, he wants to go, doesn't he? Gutted. Number 3, Paul Pogba. Contract is up in the summer. He is yet to renew his contract. I think that tells us everything. And I feel like even if he signs now, he's going to be signing because there is a complete lack of options for him to sign and go elsewhere. And that's the only reason he's going to stay. And that's not a reason to stay. Sign and play here if you want to sign and you want to play here. Don't sign and play here if we're the only option on the table for you. That's absolutely pathetic. Mystery injury up until January when he's eligible for pre-contract negotiations with anyone else. Is he committed to Manchester United? The actions don't tell me that he is. A massive wage, an even bigger wage if he commits. Is he the kind of profile of player that Ralph Rangnick wants? I'll tell you this, absolutely not. But I'll also tell you that he's a wonderful footballer and that someone will get the best out of him and he will be absolutely sensational. I just don't think it'll be at United. Number 4, Jesse Lingard. I think the fact he looks surplus to requirement is not a surprise. What is a surprise is that he came back to Manchester United in the summer. He had a genuine world-class performance on loan. He was probably the in-form Premier League player. Gareth Southgate didn't pick him. Gareth Southgate's a fucking witch. He was the in-form Premier League player at the back end of last season. Why he didn't continue at West Ham, I don't know, because it made perfect sense. That was the get out. You've just got and proved what you're about. You've played week in, week out, and you've been sensational in doing so. Move. Come back to Manchester United, especially when it was the same manager. And even under the new manager, in theory, Ralph Rangnick should like Jesse Lingard. It doesn't look like he does. He's just turned 29. He really needs to go elsewhere. I think he's too good to end up with the amount of appearances he's going to end up, because even if he stays at Manchester United, I'm not sure he's able to force his way into the first team, first choice player, whereas he can go elsewhere and be that. Now, he is on a substantial wage, and that might limit his options to where he can go. he's still got enough to offer United if he wanted to stay. And he's still got enough to offer that United could get a pretty good deal with him. The loan that he had at West Ham has done wonders for his value. I think he went from probably being like a £5 or £6 million player to a £20-25 million player. And arguably, when you see some of the prices English players go for, like Declan Rice and stuff like that, you could probably even start creeping him up into the £30-40 million territory in the summer when he had a bit longer on his contract. This close to his contract's expiry, that's not going to be the case. But I think that he'll be a lot more wanted than he would have been without that loan. He should go again. And West Ham would be a brilliant spot for him to go to. He probably could have the difference making in getting him over the line in the Champions League. Let's just hope it's not at the expense of United. Number 5, Dean Henderson. Now, he's made it crystal clear that he intends to be number 1 at the club, isn't satisfied with the game time or being number 2. This was a decision United should have had done in the middle of last season, and we didn't. We came into the end of the season not really knowing, and then it started this season with it very much knowing. There's supposedly been some interest from Ajax, but do they have enough cash to be able to bring him? If he intends to leave United, I think it'd be a brilliant place for him to go to. You'll play very high-level Champions League football, but can they match his wages? I think United paid him 125 grand a week as a backup goalkeeper. You go to probably outside of 10 teams, certainly outside the Premier League, there's probably 5 to 10 teams. And then outside of those 5 and 10 teams, you are the best paid player at the rest of Europe in terms of clubs. So going to Ajax as a goalkeeper on 125 grand a week or more because you've just moved, I'm not sure that's going to happen. Romano tweeted, Dean Henderson's always been respectful and professional, but he's prepared to leave United. His priority is to play. Whether that happens in January or summer, it will depend on the offers. I fully expect there's going to be a clear out in January. And we didn't even put Phil Jones's name in that list. Let's be honest, it needs to be on that list. If he survives another transfer window, you need to start studying him and find out how and why. Manchester United need to get these players off their books, free up that wages, because, like it or not, we are dealing with Glazonomics, and they're not going to sanction elite signings. I also want to see Ralph Rangnick's past come into this, where he's found some unreal players for real value, and I'd love to see him bring them through and see United making some of the sort of astute signings we see other clubs making. You look at our window last year, we signed Jadon Sancho, who was like the most productive winger in world football. Nice one. You signed Ronaldo. Okay, you signed Varane. Oh, like the most famous defender. Okay, cool. Who scouted this? A 12-year-old on FIFA. Like, there was no real, like, gems that we pulled out, is there? There was no cute little signings that we got just before anyone had heard of them. Palestri and Ahmad might have been that, but they were just youngsters. I'm talking about like 23, 24-year-old lads that have been plying their trade in the Polish Premier League, but they're actually fucking class. That's the sort of player that I'm looking for. That's the sort of thing Ralph Rangnick does. That's the sort of thing he needs to bring to Manchester United, because we recruit like someone firing up their first fucking game of Football Manager. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's who needs to go. Let me know in the comments who you think needs to go. And I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.